Marek drops good news, little people, big world, Roloff family. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. For nearly 2 decades, little people, big world has given audiences a front row seat into the lives of the Roloff family. What started as a small-scale reality series about Matt and Amy Roloff raising their 4 children on a sprawling Oregon farm quickly turned into one of TLC's longest-running and most beloved shows. Fans have watched the Roloffs navigate marriages, divorces, births, farm disputes, and deep family drama. Amid the ups and downs, one figure who unexpectedly became central to the story is Marek, Amy Roloff's second husband. When Chris first appeared, many longtime viewers were cautious. Could he ever truly fit into a family as complicated and spotlight-driven as the Roloffs? Over time, Chris proved himself not just as Amy's partner but as a supportive figure who brought stability and kindness into her life. Now, Chris has surprised fans once again, this time with good news that has lifted spirits in the Roloff family circle. His announcement comes at a moment when fans have been worried about ongoing fractures between the Roloff siblings and their father, Matt. Chris's update feels like a breath of fresh air, offering a sense of optimism in a family saga that has often been marked by tension. But to understand why this news matters so much, we need to revisit the Roloff family's long journey and see how Marek became an unexpected yet central part of their story. When Little People, Big World premiered in 2006, it was a groundbreaking show. At the heart of the series was the Roloff family, Matt and Amy, both living with dwarfism, and their 4 children, twins Jeremy and Zach, Molly, and the youngest, Jacob. The show set itself apart by tackling themes of disability, family resilience, and entrepreneurship, all centered around the famous Roloff farms in Helvetia, Oregon. The farm itself became a symbol. Each fall, the Roloff's pumpkin season drew thousands of visitors. For years, fans watched the children grow, the farm thrive, and the parents' marriage evolve. But by 2016, the marriage between Amy and Matt had collapsed. Their divorce marked a turning point in the family's history and for the show's storyline. Suddenly, the Roloff legacy was no longer just about the farm or the children's coming of age, it was about the family's ability to navigate heartbreak and change in the public eye. Amy, in particular, became a central figure as viewers empathized with her struggles to start over after nearly 30 years of marriage. When Amy Roloff finalized her divorce from Matt in 2016, many fans worried about her future. She had been married for nearly 3 decades, and so much of her adult life was tied to her role as a wife, mother, and co-owner of Roloff Farms. The split was not only emotional but also practical. Amy had to move off the farm, adjust to single life in her 50s, and redefine her identity in the public eye. For the first time in years, Amy was on her own. She focused on her business, Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, leaned on her children, and slowly adjusted to a new normal. But one thing she admitted openly on the show was her uncertainty about love. Could she ever find it again? Did she even want to? Chris, a successful real estate agent in Oregon, first met Amy at a pool party. Unlike many men in Amy's past, Chris wasn't connected to Roloff Farms or the TLC cameras. He was an outsider to the Roloff world, and that was exactly what made him intriguing. Fans quickly learned that Chris was thoughtful, adventurous, and genuinely invested in Amy for who she was, not for her fame. Their romance started quietly but soon became one of the most heartwarming storylines on Little People, Big World. Chris joined Amy on motorcycle rides, encouraged her to try new things, and slowly became part of her everyday life. His grounded personality was a perfect counterbalance to Amy's energy and emotional openness. By 2019, Chris proposed to Amy in a romantic setting. Fans who had followed her heartbreak were thrilled to see her embrace love again. The engagement wasn't just a personal milestone, it became symbolic of Amy's resilience and new chapter. Their wedding in August 2021 was one of the most celebrated LPBW events in recent history. Amy, radiant in her gown, walked down the aisle to Chris in front of family and close friends. While not every Roloff child attended, Jacob and Isabel kept things low-key, and tensions with Matt lingered, The wedding represented a joyful moment for Amy and her supporters. TLC even filmed the wedding, allowing fans around the world to celebrate with them. Kris proved his dedication from the very beginning. He didn't try to replace Amy's past or erase her history with Matt. Instead, he embraced it. He treated Amy's children with respect, supported her business ventures, and even found ways to coexist peacefully with Matt and Karen. For many fans, Kris became a symbol of second chances, proof that love after heartbreak is possible. As the years went on, Kris and Amy built a life filled with travel, quiet date nights, and new adventures. They bought a house together, worked on home projects, and blended their lives seamlessly. And while he wasn't originally a Roloff, Kris carved out his own place in the family story, winning over even the most skeptical fans. That's why, when Kris recently dropped his good news, it wasn't just about him and Amy, it resonated with the entire LPBW community. His journey from outsider to central figure makes every milestone feel like a victory for everyone rooting for Amy's happiness. From the moment Marek entered Amy Roloff's life, he faced a challenge most partners don't, stepping into one of reality TV's most complicated family dynamics. The Roloffs weren't just any family, they were a family that had shared their most vulnerable moments with millions of viewers. And after Amy and Matt's very public divorce, the family had visible cracks. Kris's personality was quickly noticeable to viewers. He wasn't dramatic, competitive, or looking for the spotlight. Instead, he was calm, thoughtful, and quietly supportive. Where Matt often brought intensity and big ideas, Kris brought patience and reason. Where Amy sometimes expressed frustration or insecurity, Kris offered reassurance and grounding. This steady presence became crucial as Amy navigated lingering tension with her ex-husband. On Little People, Big World, there were moments when Amy and Matt clashed over farm decisions, shared family events, or their new partners. Having Kris by her side gave Amy the confidence to stand tall without being overwhelmed by the past. Another area where Kris made a difference was with Amy's kids. For Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, it wasn't easy watching their parents' marriage dissolve and then adjusting to new partners. Some of the Roloff children were initially cautious, but Kris never forced his way into their lives. He respected boundaries, showed up consistently, and allowed trust to build naturally. Over time, fans noticed how Kris bonded with Zach and Tori, spending time with their kids, Jackson, Lila, and Josiah. He also showed warmth toward Jeremy and Audrey when they visited, and he respected Jacob and Isabel's choice to live more privately. In every interaction, Kris came across as genuine, not trying to be the stepdad, but simply a positive figure. Relationship with Matt Roloff and his girlfriend, Karen Chandler. After all, Kris married Matt's ex-wife, and not long after Matt moved on with Karen, who had worked on Roloff farms for years. What could have been a recipe for hostility instead became an example of maturity. Kris often made it clear that he wasn't interested in competition. He attended family events where Matt and Karen were present and never escalated conflict. In fact, on several occasions, Kris and Matt were filmed working together, sharing meals, chatting casually, and even cooperating on farm-related discussions. Fans were pleasantly surprised by this dynamic. Many thought there would be ongoing feuds, but Kris's ability to stay respectful and neutral helped lower tensions. He didn't erase old wounds, but he created a path for civility. For longtime LPBW viewers, Kris came to represent more than Amy's new husband. He became a symbol of healing and fresh beginnings. In a family where divisions sometimes seemed permanent, whether it was the farm dispute between Matt and his sons, or the differing life choices among the siblings, Kris reminded everyone that bridges could still be built. After years of ups and downs in the Roloff world with farm disputes, family divisions, and ongoing speculation about the future of Little People, Big World fans were eager for something uplifting. That's exactly what Marek delivered when he dropped his good news. Kris revealed that he and Amy had taken an exciting new step together. They're planning a joint community project connected to Roloff Farm's fall season. While details are still developing, Kris confirmed that he will play a more active role in helping Amy host special events, including intimate gatherings, cooking nights, and fan meet and greets. For Amy, who has always loved connecting with fans through her baking business and public speaking, this announcement was a dream come true. And for Chris, who has mostly stayed in the background, it marked a new chapter of involvement not just as Amy's husband, but as someone embracing the extended Roloff family legacy. On the surface, it may sound like just another project, but in the world of the Roloffs, this update carries a deeper meaning. For years, much of the family drama has centered around the farm, who would inherit it, who would stay involved, and who felt left out. The disputes fractured relationships, especially between Matt and his sons. By stepping forward with this project, Chris is offering a fresh perspective. Instead of dwelling on who owns the farm, he's focusing on how the farm can still be a source of joy and community. His involvement signals that the Roloff legacy can continue in a positive way even as the show's future remains uncertain. Amy couldn't contain her excitement when sharing Chris's news. On Instagram, she gushed about how grateful she was for a partner who not only supports her but also shares her passion for making meaningful memories. She described Chris as her rock and praised his willingness to try new things, even when it pushes him outside his comfort zone. For Amy, this isn't just about an event or a project, it's about having someone beside her who is willing to build a future together. Fans who have watched her journey since her divorce felt especially emotional seeing her light up with pride. The announcement sparked a wave of positivity across social media. On Reddit, fans noted that Chris's willingness to be involved shows his deep commitment to Amy's world. On Instagram, comments poured in, "Chris is the best thing that ever happened to Amy. So happy for them." Finally, some good news from the Roloffs. Thank you, Chris, for bringing peace and happiness. I love that Chris is including fans and community. This is the kind of energy the Roloff legacy needs right now. Even on Facebook fan pages that often debate the family's drama, Chris's announcement was met with near-universal support. That's rare in the LPBW fandom, which is often divided over farm disputes and sibling rivalries. While TLC has not officially confirmed whether Little People, Big World will continue beyond season 25, Chris's news gives fans hope. If Amy and Chris are hosting events tied to Roloff farms, there's a strong possibility that cameras could return to capture these moments. And even if the show doesn't return, fans will still have opportunities to connect with the Roloff story in real life thanks to Chris's initiative. For now, Chris's announcement has shifted the energy surrounding the family. Instead of dwelling on tension, fans are celebrating love, unity, and second chances. It's the kind of update that reminds viewers why they fell in love with Little People, Big World in the first place. For Amy Roloff, life after her divorce from Matt was a journey filled with uncertainty. Fans who have followed her for nearly 2 decades know that she often wears her heart on her sleeve, whether she's laughing, crying, or reflecting on her challenges. Amy has always been authentic. That's why Chris Marek's good news carries so much emotional weight. It's not just a project or an announcement, it's another chapter in Amy's healing and growth. Amy has often spoken about wanting a partner who doesn't just support from the sidelines but actively builds a life alongside her. With Chris stepping into this new role, planning events, joining her in community activities, and creating opportunities for fans to connect, Amy feels validated in her choice to give love another chance. Unlike her past marriage, where power struggles over the farm and business were common, Amy now has a partner who works in collaboration, not competition. Chris isn't trying to overshadow her or claim the spotlight. Instead, he's walking beside her. For years after her divorce, Amy admitted she felt insecure. She questioned her worth, her ability to start over, and whether someone would truly love her for who she was. Chris's ongoing dedication, now highlighted by this exciting good news, reinforces Amy's confidence. She's no longer defined by the heartbreak of the past, but by the joy of her present. This emotional shift is clear to fans. In recent interviews and Instagram updates, Amy has radiated positivity. She shares cooking videos, motivational posts, and candid photos with Chris that show her relaxed and genuinely happy. The contrast between her life a decade ago and her life now is striking. Her Little Kitchen brand, motivational speaking, and cookbooks are all proof that she thrives when she's sharing her passions with others. Chris's announcement ties perfectly into this side of her personality. With his support, Amy can host more events, connect with fans, and expand her reach beyond the TV screen. Many fans believe this partnership could inspire Amy to publish another cookbook or launch new business ventures. Having Chris in her corner ensures that she doesn't feel alone in these endeavors. His real estate and business background bring a sense of practicality that complements Amy's creativity. One of the hardest realities Amy has faced is watching her children navigate fractured relationships with their father, Matt. The farm disputes left Zach and Jeremy deeply hurt, while Jacob chose to distance himself from the cameras altogether. For Amy, these divisions are painful reminders that not everything can be neatly resolved. But Chris provides her with balance. Instead of letting family tension consume her, she has someone reminding her to focus on joy, shared moments, and the bigger picture. His recent good news reinforces that while the Roloff family may always have disagreements, there can still be reasons to celebrate. For viewers who watched Amy's tears during her divorce, her frustration in family disputes, and her uncertainty about dating again, this moment feels like a payoff. Seeing Amy thrive with Chris, and now seeing her light up over his announcement is deeply rewarding. It's as if fans themselves are sharing in her second chance at happiness. Zach, the only Roloff sibling who stayed connected to the show until its final season, has always had a close relationship with his mother. Though farm disputes with Matt strained the family dynamic, Zach has consistently made time for Amy and Chris. When Chris's good news was revealed, Zach and Tori were among the first to show support. Tori even shared on Instagram, "We're so excited to see Mom and Chris taking on something new together. They make such a great team." Fans loved the supportive tone, especially since Tori often acts as a bridge between the Roloff siblings and the wider LPBW fanbase. For Zach and Tori's children Jackson, Lila, and Josiah, Chris has become Grandpa Chris. Their excitement about more family events and gatherings around Roloff farms only strengthens the bond. Jeremy and Audrey, who left the show years ago to pursue their own ventures, have had a more complicated relationship with the Roloff farm legacy. Jeremy was once expected to take over the property, but stepped away after disputes with Matt. Despite those past wounds, Jeremy and Audrey still show love for Amy and, by extension, Chris. Audrey recently commented on one of Amy's posts about Chris's news, writing, "We love seeing you two thrive." While not as effusive as Zach and Tori, it was still a public sign of support. For fans, this subtle acknowledgement was meaningful because it showed that even if the Roloff siblings are divided in some areas, they can still unite behind Amy's happiness. The youngest Roloff sibling, Jacob, has long distanced himself from the TLC cameras. He's been outspoken about not wanting to participate in manufactured storylines and prefers a quieter life with his wife, Isabel, and their son, Mateo. Still, Jacob has always been protective of his mom. Though he doesn't post much about the wider family, Isabel shared a heartfelt Instagram story after Chris's announcement, praising Amy and Chris for living authentically and joyfully. The couple's private support speaks volumes, even without fanfare. Molly, the only daughter, has lived out of the spotlight for years, focusing on her career and marriage to Joel Silvius. She rarely comments publicly on Roloff updates, but Amy has hinted in past interviews that Molly likes Chris and respects how happy he makes her mom. While fans didn't see a direct reaction from Molly, sources close to the family suggest she reached out privately to congratulate them. Perhaps the most surprising reactions came from Matt and his longtime partner, Karen Chandler. On the surface, one might expect awkwardness after all. Matt's ex-wife is celebrating a new milestone with her husband. But Matt and Karen showed maturity by expressing support. Matt commented on Amy's post, "Looks like a fun new chapter for you guys, wishing you all the best." Karen also added, "So happy for you both. Excited to see where this goes." These words struck fans as significant. For years, the Matt-Amy-Karen triangle was one of the most dramatic storylines on LPBW. But Chris's presence has slowly softened the edges. Instead of feeding hostility, he has encouraged civility, even friendship between the couples. The Roloff family may never be perfectly united. The wounds from farm disputes and differing life choices run deep. But Chris's good news reminded everyone that joy is still possible. For once, The reactions from each family member leaned positive, a rare moment of unity in a family often marked by division. It wasn't just about the project or event Chris announced. It was about what it symbolized: Amy's happiness, a willingness to move forward, and